Welcome, Star Wars fans. Thanks for clicking on my review for the first 3 episodes of Andor, which are now streaming on Disney+, and every single week we're going to gather right here to discuss all the episodes and all the spoilers. I was lucky enough to see these first 3 episodes in glorious IMAX, and I was riveted from beginning to end. Not only because this was my first big screen Star Wars experience since The Rise of Skywalker, but because I've never felt so compelled by any of the Star Wars shows ever since the first season of The Mandalorian. I thoroughly enjoyed the beginning of Cassian's journey. Of course, the series is set 5 years before the events of Rogue One, in an era filled with danger, deception, and intrigue, where Cassian Andor, just a simple thief, embarks on a revolutionary journey that is destined to turn him into a rebel hero. But this is not the place whatsoever where Cassian is right now. This is a man looking out for numero uno. He is not fighting for anyone else other than himself. This is a man really just trying to survive, trying to make ends meet day in and day out. And we're able to explore how that is not so different than how he survived as a child in this planet filled with just children, no parents to be found anywhere, which was a big question mark. But everything in his childhood mirrors so much of what is happening to him right now, how he's pulled into a world that feels so much bigger than himself, like destiny or the Force is calling upon him to act. I've never seen the grand scope of Star Wars captured so authentically with such a small lens. And what I mean by that is that you get the giant scope of Star Wars. You see the big ships, the immensity of space. You understand the gravity, the severity of the subjugation the Empire has put the entire galaxy through. But at the same time, the way we view this immensity is through the character of Cassian Andor. This is easily the most character-driven series ever since the first season of The Mandalorian. And what makes this so compelling to watch is that Cassian is not one of the cool guys. He doesn't wield a lightsaber, he is not connected to the Force, and he doesn't come from a warrior race like the Mandalorians. He is a guy. He is a survivor from a poor planet that, judging by these first 3 episodes, there are no parents in there whatsoever, just this isolated planet mid-rim filled with children that have to fend off from the moment they're born, from what we understand. Cassian is a survivor, looking out for himself, and he doesn't have anything to fight for other than himself. There's no bigger cause that compels him through his daily struggles. And this is an excellent beginning on a character's journey. Diego Luna is absolutely sensational in this role. To no surprise, we've seen where this character ends up. We've seen and we understand what he has fought for, how much he believed in the rebellion, and seeing him in such a distraught state of mind in this moment in his life where he sees nothing beyond the horizon other than surviving day in and day out is an excellent contrast to what we understand this character to be. The show gives him a striking introduction where, in the search for his sister, he is patted down and accidentally murders someone, only to be forced to murder someone else so he doesn't get ratted out. This is the ugliness of war, how it turns good people trying to survive into killers. This is what the Empire has forced him to do. But the show also leaves us with a moment to see how this emotionally affects them, and then this one mistake comes back to haunt him and launches him on his journey. But the series doesn't just go small scale with Cassian Andor. Our antagonist, Cyril Karn, sternly played by Kyle Soller, is someone I'm fascinated by, who is right now at the beginning of his journey in the same place we know Cassian will be by the end of his. This is someone who is not even an Imperial officer. He just utterly believes in the ideals that are the laws established by the Empire. You just see utter devotion by this man, but at the same time uncertainty, and how he feels in way over his head, but he is committed and convicted in upholding the laws that he believes in. For Cyril Karn, Cassian is the bad guy who steals from the Empire that he serves, who killed 2 of his colleagues while they were on the job. This is the person he has to stop, and there's something very compelling about seeing someone just follow through their convictions and what they believe to be right. So I cannot wait to see how the show challenges this character's worldviews. And it's again another show of how the Empire has subjugated so many, how it has brainwashed and indicted so many in its malice-filled beliefs. But our antagonist and protagonist are not the only complex or compelling characters. You have Bix, you have Fiona Shaw, you have Luthen Rail, who I will be speaking about in just a bit, and the new adorable droid B. He is sensational. He was at the screening last night, and I just already want to hug him and protect him from any danger. And in this show, you feel the danger at a constant all-time high. Nothing and no one feels safe. Maybe except for Cassian, but this show is so good that it can sometimes trick you into believing he could actually die, because it feels just so grounded in reality. It feels so nasty and dirty and ugly, and it feels like the Star Wars we were only teased about in Rogue One. We're finally diving deep into it through these complex characters and unpeeling the layers about them. That, of course, like I said, is best mirrored in our protagonist and antagonist, and the contrast between the two that I just can't wait to explore more of as the series continues to unfold. I also have to give a special shout out to Stellan Skarsgård, who maximizes every moment he has on screen as Luthen Rail, as the first character to challenge Cassian's worldview. He doesn't want the box, he doesn't want the piece, he wants the person who can get him the tools to win this war. As much anger as Cassian may carry for the Empire, for their vanity, for their pomposity, this man clearly has a personal grudge against him, and he wants more like him to fight for a bigger cause. This is exactly what I want to see pulling Cassian into the fight. Something bigger than himself. Something that compels him to fight not just for himself, not just to find his sister, but to fight for others like him. The writing and direction just feel geared in a completely different way than any of the Star Wars shows we have seen thus far. The dynamics throughout these first 2 episodes are so interesting, compelling, they feel so intimate and create this sense of community, because you see how different people from so many different walks of life are all equally affected by this tyrannical empire looming above them. And that not only applies to our protagonists, it also applies to the antagonists presented. Everyone here is painted in this moral shade of gray, where they are just following what they have been led to believe in. Every character presented feels like a real person trying to survive in an ugly time where survival is so uncertain. And this is how the show Andor cements its identity. It is a gritty, angry, nasty, political spy thriller set in the time of war where the tension is at all-time high. Nicholas Britell's score just gives so much atmosphere and weight to everything. The scene where Cassian meets with Stellan Skarsgård and they're ambushed, that blaster fight was one of the greatest shootouts I have seen in anything in recent memory. Even knowing that Cassian cannot die, because we've seen where he dies, it was so filled with tension and uncertainty. I just love how this show builds upon itself, and I'm very glad that they released all these 3 episodes at the same time, because this introduction to where Cassian is now, seeing his backstory as a child separating from his sister, finding a little bit of the mining catastrophe that is just alluded to in these first 3 episodes, I was fascinated. I was intrigued. I was engaged in this mystery and how it pulls Cassian into the larger world of Star Wars. Because by the end of these 3 episodes that move like a movie, that start this character on his journey, it feels very much like it's just the beginning of his own trilogy, and I cannot wait to see the rest. But quick, before I dive into my final thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Andor, let me know what you make of it in the comments below. Is this your favorite Star Wars show thus far? How do you rank the first 3 episodes? Anything and everything down there. And if you enjoy Star Wars, if you're enjoying this Andor review and don't want to miss any of the upcoming ones, or if you just love movies and TV, this is the place to be. So consider clicking that subscribe button and you won't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Andor brings the war back to Star Wars, where the relentlessly tense score is only the cherry on top of this spy thriller rich with gravitas and grit. There is sensational character focus throughout, and Diego Luna's nuanced performance adds new layers to the ever so complex, haunted spy searching for a bigger purpose. I want more of this from my Star Wars. And that is my take on the first 3 episodes of Andor. Let me know what you make of it in the comments below, and come back every week as we discuss every single episode weekly. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to my channel members for always supporting the channel. And until the next one, love each other and love the movies.